Okay, radio first session. So, you sort of have an idea of each other. You are going to board a ship known as the ISS Timo, and I'm waiting to see, yeah, where we go. It's an Ericsson class scout ship. It's a little bit different than the average normal expected scout ship. They seem to be long, thin, needly-like things. This is shorter, more broader. It's been modified. So in traditional games of Cepheus or Scout or Traveller, you have jump and you have non-jump drives. In this game, you have non-jump drives, which is your petrol fuel stuff or your whatever. You have hop, skip, and jump drives. So hop drives are drives that do a partial jump within a solar system. They can't jump out of a solar system, but like if you're going from one side to the other side, you could use a hop drive. Skip is what we call the standard jump drive, jumping a parsec 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you have what we now call the jump drive. Jump drive is a bit of new technology, and what it does for the added cost and taking up a bit of room, it gives your skip drive a multiplier. So your ship normally can jump 1 or 2. It's got a multiplier of 1.5. It takes a bit more fuel and a bit more room, which means your ship can technically jump a 1, 2, or a 3, which gives it a lot more versatility. The ship has one turret. It has two
guns on the turret.
Two types of lasers. Steve's trying to quickly get through the book to find out what they are.
I thought you said they were laser cannons.
They are laser types, but you have two sorts. You have beam and you have pulse. So a beam one, I think, is easier to hit with, and a pulse one does more damage when it does hit. Or it's the other way around for them. I just never remember which way it goes. But anyway, so I've got the stats somewhere, and I've damned myself if I can't find them. I do know that you don't have as much cargo space as it says there you do, or what it looks like. You only have, because you're also carrying an extra half-ton of life support, which means that gives you 8 more weeks of life support for one person. There's 4 of you, so that extends your life support by 2 weeks. So you can do a jump 3. You've got 6 weeks of life support, and you've got enough fuel to give the duration of a month. I think it is. Is it a month? Yes, I'm pretty sure it's a month. Or 2 weeks.
I found the page on. I found the page on the turrets.
Yep.
It's page 69.
Cool. I was very close. I was 1 page out.
So there's pulse lasers and particle beams.
No, you don't have the beams.
Beam lasers.
Beam lasers are weak but accurate. Yeah, they get a +1.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas the pulse laser... Oh, hang on. Yeah.
So the pulse laser.
There you go. Pulse laser gives you 2 hits when it hits, as opposed to the beam laser, which only gives you 1 hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Are ideal for point defense and hit incoming missiles. This is a pulse laser at a base throw of gunnery 6+ rather than a gunnery 10+. They are powerful but accurate, causing 2 hits on targets but attacking at a -2 to hit ordinary targets. So you have a pulse and you have a beam.
We have
one of each. Yep.
Oh, one of each. Okay.
Yeah, but they're both in the turret at the back.
Both in. So you. Do you fire one or the other, or can you fire both?
You fire both.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll walk when we get, should we get, I don't expect us to get to ship combat straight away.
Yeah.
Probably in a game or two. Depends on how badly the first encounters go, I guess, or how well they go with the aliens that you may meet. So the other part of the story is that you'll see in the house rules, I don't think there's, most of the house rules were to do with generation and some of the changes they've made to the game. So like, if you have a characteristic that's 5 or less, it's a -1, and I think Matt, your character has a -1 on their social. If you have a 9 to 11, it's a +1. If you have a 12, it's a +2, and I don't think anyone's got a 12 at the moment. So that's the bonus you get if it's associated to a skill, and say add in your characteristic bonus. There's no such thing as deception skill. You've got to roleplay that out. You are playing, the medic you're playing is also a surgeon, because you meet both requirements, level 3 doctor, a med, and a 10 or plus dexterity. So you can do surgery.
Interrupt you real quick. What is my dexterity? Because I'm not seeing in the attributes.
10.
10. Okay, thank
10, you. Yep. So the only thing, they bought you a shotgun, but I don't think they've bought you any other sort of weapon. Last week, Anthony and Dean filled up the ship's locker. So you've got a tech level 9, I think it is, spacesuit. It does the job.
Okay.
And I think they bought some shotguns for the defending the ship. You've got your own shotgun. I don't know if you want to have bought a. You don't have any melee skill. You might want to have a dagger if you want. I don't know. When we get into combat, I'll talk about the combat rules, which is the second half of the house rules, and it just changes. In Cepheus engine, it's different to Traveller in that it's about penetrating the armor and doing damage. But their hand-to-hand combat was different, so it was two sort of separate systems. So I've tried to make hand-to-hand combat as close as possible to ship-to-ship combat. So they tend to sort of share some of the basic mechanics, so it's not having to relearn things all over again. So if Remington, for argument's sake, I'll just do this quickly. If Remington needed to roll for surprise, okay, so Remington is not in the he's in the merchants, which is not a military, so he doesn't have leadership skill, he doesn't have recon, and he doesn't have tactics. Okay, so he'd roll a d6, and the other side rolls a d6, add up their bonuses, and whoever gets 3 or more gets 1 round of surprise, which means they get a round to do something horrible to the other side. Or flee, up to them, whatever they want to do.
Okay.
Most times you get surprised, you want to take them out because combat can be deadly. As you probably found out. Which version of Traveller did you play, Matt?
I think version 2 is what they were saying.
Classic,
Mongoose.
Mongoose 2.
Mongoose Traveller 2 is the core rulebook that I've been looking through.
Okay. So Cepheus is much closer to classic Traveller. It takes some ideas from Cepheus. It takes a lot of the updating of the tech and employing it in the game, but that's sort of as close as it gets. So that's sort of where things will get a little bit fuzzy, but don't worry. As your game goes by, you'll probably make sense of it more.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll learn on the roll.
Cool. Okay. So coming down to I haven't given everyone a little figurine yet. I'm hoping you don't need it just yet. I'm hoping we can just get by flying and doing things. So a sector is 4 subsectors wide and 4 subsectors down. These 2 rectangles are a subsector. Okay, they measure 8 light years across, and I think it's 10 light years north-south. So you are the one that you are in is this one here. Yeah, I'll just get us all to that one. I don't know which one of these buttons does it. There we go. So up in the top left-hand corner is the planet you're on called Terminus. If we think about it in the sector, it's the 4x4. It's the bottommost, rightmost subsector. The big subsector next to it is 3x3. So it's on a diagonal, so they sort of match up on those 2 points. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So you're jumping from Terminus past the Veil. The Veil is a spatial anomaly that creates a whole lot of havoc, and it goes for quite a distance. I haven't got the whole subsector map, the whole sector map done yet, but I've just done this basic stuff just to get us started. Because you don't need the rest of the human subsector map because you're leaving that behind on your very first jump. You do have the subsector you're jumping into. You do have that information, so you know that's where the stars are. Okay. So the other thing you can do, if you happen to be just one jump away, and you're thinking of jumping to that star, you can do it would be Ray's doing it. It's a navigation roll, because what he's trying to do is interpret the astrogation data to see if there's enough wobble or something that would indicate that there's a huge gas type planet in system where you could gain fuel from. Okay? Because fuel, obviously, you jump, you burn most of it up. And you're going to have to find a way to replenish that. But that's only available one hex out of your current position. Unfortunately, you don't get that on the first jump. You're jumping in blind, hoping that you can get through the Veil with this new engine technology and end up on a planet that's either got water or has a gas giant around it.
Well, shit.
Exactly. So this venture is being funded by two agencies. One is Intergalactic University, I'll make up the name of it, and the other is a merchant cartel of three different merchant carrier companies. Basically, and I've got to work out what your we did work it out, and I can't remember, sorry, what Remington's cash is, but basically everyone's taken a 2-month advance, so they've got money to buy stuff with and have money on hand to barter with to try to buy things that they need on the trip.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at 25,000.
Yep. So the rest, the 10,000, will be given to you. The 10 months worth on your return to terminal. You'll gain all that money back, plus anything that you happen to have made. The information they're wanting, obviously, two different sorts. So the university is interested in what you find, any information about the Veil, any information about the alien races behind the Veil. So any information is what they're after. The mercantile cartel is after a mercantile base. So they want to know resources. They want to know if there's a equivalent trading price of things. They want to know if there are suitable starports that they could establish themselves out and like move out into that once they get past the Veil. So theirs is purely business orientated. So you're keeping two different sets. So I'm going to say that Remington, you're actually responsible for keeping all of the mercantile data, whereas Ray's is responsible for keeping all of the educational, social, technological, historical, all that sort of data, biological, all that stuff. Okay? Jack, you might be able to throw in some information about technology because you've got a pretty good handle on technology. And not Jack, yeah. Oh no, Jack. No, that's Garth. Sorry, Garth. Jack is your security guy. His one job is to keep you three alive.
Go.
Yeah, that's what he's got to do. So he doesn't have to worry about anything about just keeping you guys alive. He's also the best person to be in a firefight with because he has something like a basic +3 to his surprise roll, I think, before we even start calculating anything else.
Nice.
Yeah, he's very, very good. He can lead surprise
Do what?
attacks. I think so.
Opposite of me.
Yeah.
Surprise. Where's the surprise stat?
You calculate it from all your skills. So you are you have leadership. That's 1.
Yeah.
You were in you're in a military thing. That's 2.
Okay.
You have recon 1, tact, and that's 3. So before I even start calculating anything else, you got a +3 on your dice,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
which makes you really good in a firefight because you
Sure.
you are liable, unless they have some sort of alien biological advantage, you're liable to get the jump on them.
Yeah. Okay.
You also the person who guns uses the gunnery.
Yes. Yes. That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll be using Beyond the Veil, the audio chat for our audio, and if you look up above you'll see Beyond the Veil, which is just a text chat to chuck anything in there, information or any questions in between games and any other thing you want to put in there. You can have a look at all the other stuff. The only one that you can't really do anything about is Callum Terra, because that's a friend of mine who is using this server to play his fantasy game on, but all the others are mine, so that's not a problem. So with that, Double Plus Wrong Fun Productions, that's what we're called, is going to start the game. So you're given your final instructions. You know the risk. You could very well finish before you start. Jumping in across the veil is dangerous. Many ships for many hundreds of years have tried to cross the veil. No one has come back. They've never received a message from anyone. So it's a pretty steady sort of steadying thought that you could jump and then just something horrible happens to you and your ship. The other, so therefore there is going to be those who survive will also get a bonus of 50,000 credits danger money.
Danger money? What's
Danger
that?
money, yeah.
That's just like hazard pay?
Kinda,
Okay. I won't say no to money.
yeah. Okay, so now there's a certain set of things that you go through before every jump. So obviously, first of all, you make sure you've refueled, you've resupplied life support, and at the moment you're at full on both of those, which is all cool. If you are in an atmosphere, the pilot would then make a piloting roll to get out of the atmosphere, because going into an atmosphere you make a piloting roll because you suddenly go from space to atmospheric, which can be quite dangerous for a ship to go into. The pilot makes that roll to get out of atmosphere, and you do have an atmosphere, although it's a very thin atmosphere, you'll still be making that pilot roll. Then you go out to the jump distance. You must always be 100 diameters, and I've got a little table that tells me how long it takes you at whatever G you're doing, and this ship I think goes 1 or 2 G. That's how fast it can travel or accelerate. Depending on how fast you want to leave, you have to travel it to 100 diameters. That's where you can make a safe jump. If you do it inside
That's
of
from
100,
the planet you're on.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you jump from 10 diameters out to 100 diameters, you have a monstrous chance of blowing up
Okay.
or misjumping. If you try to take off and do that on the planet or within 10 diameters, it's pretty assured you are going to misjump, and it's probably that you're going to blow up as well. But if you jump at 100 or more diameters, and that usually is the damaging point, from the point you leave the planet's atmosphere to the 100 diameters is where you might have an encounter with pirates or some other ships, that sort of stuff. So you just got to be careful about that, whether they're pirates or whether they are normal ships. And there's certain codes that are sent. So like you get hailed, they usually give you the name of the ship and the name of the captain and requesting who's the captain's name of the ship and your ship. They just, because your ship send out a signal, a transponder it has, which any ship can pick up. So, and if you're worried, if you've got someone who's on sensors and rays, that's going to be you.
Yep.
You're going to have to work out from the sensing data you get in whether or not you trust the transponder or not, if you've got a concern that something's not quite right. So you do that just to verify that what the transponders picked up is what they are. Once you get out to but also you can get people to try to trick you, and like pirates and all that sort of stuff. You may also get boarded or checked with customs. That's usually on the way in. It's very, very rarely on the way out unless something really big's happened on planet and they're searching to see if something or someone has escaped. But you kind of know what you're heading into on that side of things. Once you get up to 100 diameters, the first role is that you engage. Well, first of all, why you're getting out there. It's just assumed that the pilot is making the navigational inputs. Now, if you're going into space where you have no navigational inputs and you have no navigation, you know where the stars are, so you can definitely aim for the stars, although you don't want to go for the stars, but you don't know where the planets are because you don't pick up any planets this far out. So you're just taking pot luck. You could end up like, you could come out above orbit of a planet, you could come out inside a planet if you're really, really unlucky, or you can come out close to but not too far, or on the opposite side of the star system. So there are some tricks and that sort of stuff that I'm assuming that your character will just be doing, Rays, being the pilot and navigator that he is. He'll just do those basic things. But if you have to, and remember the 3 things you need in this game to have a chance of succeeding is the skill, the resources, and the time. So if time is very rare and you're only relying on skill or resources, that's when you could have trouble when you re-engage out of jump. Okay.
Sweet.
So the first thing you do all that. The next thing, the engineer will roll his star engineering roll. Or sorry, he should be all the time checking the engines pre and post jump to make sure nothing's gone wrong.
Yep.
The engineer makes one roll to see whether the ship's going to blow up as it enters jump. Yay! Usually you've got to roll really high to have that happen, so you don't want double sixes. Usually double six, as long as you're using what's called refined fuel and you're not doing a hasty jump, you're fine. You'll never do that. It's when time's short or you've had to use unrefined fuel that you start having problems with a jump. Then after that,
So what's unrefined fuel? Is that just like raw?
that's you scoop gas out of a gas giant.
Yeah,
You've got
okay.
you've got things that you can automatically then jump with what you've gathered, or you can wait because your ship can produce 5 tons of fuel per day of refined fuel.
So we can mine it and then turn it into
Refined fuel.
Yeah.
You can't have refined and unrefined. It automatically goes to unrefined if you're mixing it in your fuel systems.
Okay.
And sometimes you can only have unrefined because you don't have the time. You might be chased by a pirate or something. You just want to get enough fuel to jump out of there. But most times you'll probably be able to find a gas giant, scoop from a gas giant. That's a piloting role. And then once you're full, head in system once you've detected where the actual main system planet is, because this is different to Traveller because that's usually all very well known and all planned out. In this game you've got lots of unknowns, so you're gonna, because this is new, I've only thought up a couple of systems on the fly. So if you can think of other systems that seem reasonable and safe, try them, because we might adopt them as part and parcel of how this game is played. I like doing so, Matt, just sometimes it's by the skin of your teeth because I like that sort of adventure and that sort of high risk sort of thing. I hope you don't mind, because that's how we're going to go.
That's not me.
Cool. Then the pilot makes his roll. Again, modifiers with if it's a time factor, or if he's too close to a planetary mass, or if I think there's unrefined fuel. I'm not sure. I've got to look that one up. I think that's only for the explosion. But there's other things that happen. You don't roll against your. It's just a flat dice with these modifiers. And if you fail, again rolling really high, you misjump. So you can misjump with these engines. Normally it's a random d6 direction because you're using hexes. 6d6 up to 6d6 hexes away. So 6 times 6 or 1 times 6 or whatever the dice are. Yeah. But because you're using a jump drive, that becomes the d6 times d6 times 1.5 hexes away. So you could technically jump around about 48 light years from where you want to be.
Awesome.
Yep. So as you can tell, if you go diagonally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, there's only 14 hexes maximum diagonally in a subsector. So you're looking at like 3.5 of those.
So, are there like if somebody else, I guess, on the ship has a I don't know, like any piloting or ship kind of skills, can they kind of help him out, and like grant him a boon? Is that a thing?
So that is called aiding. So what happens if you can aid? You've got to have a skill, a level 1 at least. You do the pre-roll. If you're successful, depending on how much effect you get, like if you make an 8, that's a +1. If you make a 10, no, sorry, if you make a 12, that's right, it's only +1. If you make a 12, that's a +2. And then they roll modified by your roll, and there's their modifiers on the final roll. Yeah, so you can support somebody as long as you've got the prerequisite skills, or you've got complementary skills. Complementary skills I haven't played with yet, but we're going to try this in this game, but it's probably only going to be half as effect. And I'm not sure I'm going to do that because sometimes that rounds to 0.5, and I'll have to make a call on that depending on those three things I said: time, resources, and skill. Yep.
So with my piloting skill, could I go ahead and make a helping roll?
Probably not flying the ship, no. But you could, because you've got piloting 1, is that correct?
That's what it looks like, yes.
Yep. And navigation 0.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
No navigation.
No, you do. In this game, when you get pilot, you automatically get navigation. But how I've played it is you get it 1, you pick pilot or navigation, which is your primary, and I think I picked pilot for the character, so you automatically got nav 0. So you can still make a nav roll to support him.
I'm just looking at the skills on in front of me on the character sheet. That's all
cool.
I see.
Yep. So if there is something that's navigation, make sure it's a 0, not a negative something, because it should be a 0. So that's a possibility. I like. We'll try and evolve the system as we go, and if it's not, I'm all for dramatic moments. But if it's just like it's all about like all your hard work is going to be undone, perhaps we won't use those systems. We'll see how the game goes. Okay, so you're about to leave terminal. Everything's on board. You've done your pre-flight checks. Normally they are rolls, so actually I'll start getting you guys to get used to that. So Anthony, for Garth, if you can give me his engineering roll with a +2, and if he's got education, a high enough education, use the modifier for education on the engineering roll.
Education is 8, no modifier. Uh-oh. That's not good. That's a 1.
Okay, as far as Jack knows, everything's fine. And everyone's so comfortable with that.
I didn't. I rolled as Jack, not Garth. Does that matter?
Well, you're rolling Garth stuff though, eh?
Yeah.
No, that's okay. Yeah. Just remember, under the chat window, swap when you go to as rolling for someone else. That's all that will come up. Okay. So we'll do that. Swap it and roll again and see what you get with the modifiers. So 2d6 +2 +1. I think, for your education. Holy shit! Okay, great start.
I'll
Okay.
take the first one.
No, Garth's even more. Garth is even more sure that everything's fine. Hey, it's a refurbished ship. It should be totally fine. Gets out the spanner and bangs something. See, it's sounding perfect to me. Goes over and taps.
Checks it against his head.
Yeah. Taps a couple of gauges. Yeah, the needles seem to move. Lights are flashing. We're all good to go down in the engineering bay. Perhaps. Okay, so here's another thing. Anytime you go into space, the other group, because of the nature of the game, they're never sure when they come out of jump what they're going to come into. So they always do several things. Everyone gets to position. So gunners and gunnery, engineers and engineering, everyone where they need to be, sort of thing. They then suckle the atmosphere out of the ship and back into the tanks. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So they suckle the atmosphere back in the tank so that should they have an explosive decompression from a missile hit or a laser hit, it doesn't happen. So they don't lose a lot of stuff. And in their game, they've got a pilot and a navigator separate. So the navigator always takes over the sensor controls and does the initial communication and sweeps the area for contacts and all the other sort of stuff. Looks out for the automated messages, all that sort of thing. You've got one person that's going to have to do all that. That's quite difficult, but you've got to do all that, Raise, because that's your role. What you could do, though, since Remington is not actually needed anywhere else, he could be your assistant on in the cockpit.
Let me ask you this as well.
Yep.
The jumps usually take like quite a long time, right?
1 week.
1 week. So I could possibly be what's it called? Training or researching or doing something to advance another skill.
Okay. So that brings me on to that. Normally in the game, you're in a universe where you have access to study materials and exams and all that sort of stuff. For this next year, because you've got 6 months to go as far as you can in and then 6 months to get back. For this next year, you're not going to have access to that. So it's going to be very hard to train. What I do though is every time you roll doubles, be they 6s or 1s or 2s or 4s, whatever, every time you roll doubles, you add a 0.1 to whatever skill that just applied to. When it clocks over from a 0.9, it would take it up 1. You make a dedication roll, a D8. 2d6, you make an 8 or better. Your skill now, through experience, clocks up to the next level and you start all over again. If you fail the roll, it drops back down to 0 and you've got to start all over again with no advancement in the level. I just call that advancement through experience.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, just the little mechanic there. So just make sure you take note of when you roll doubles, okay?
Gotcha.
Because I'm not going to look for them. You've got to point them out to me, otherwise you don't get them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, so we've had Garth checking the engines and tell you that everything's fine, better than fine. Lights are beeping, gauges are moving. Something's happening with the jump, with the power plant and the maneuver drives. You're all good to go there, Captain.
I fist palm and say, let's go raise the roof.
Okay, so you now have got to make...
Literally.
Yeah. Okay, so in this sort of system, Matt, you would be, if you're in the cockpit with the captain, just taking over the communication sensors. So do you have... I don't know if you do. Do you have computers?
Computers at 1.
Perfect. Okay, then you are the perfect person for that job.
Awesome.
Okay, so you'd be taking all the sensory data. You'd be taking in like initial contacts, giving away your name of captain, and da-da-da-da. You'd be the Como officer, as well as the sensor officer, as well as all that stuff. Okay, so yep. So you'd be talking to the tower right now, saying you're ready to take off, and waiting for them to give you the vector. Feed that into the pilot, who then could use that to take off.
Let's go.
Okay, so we'll take it as that's been done by Remington.
Yeah.
Cool.
bad.
But no, next time I'm going to leave it all up to you, because if you go do something,
I got to do it. Okay.
yeah, it just carries on, and what happens happens.
Alright.
So as Jack, should I be sitting on the turret right now, or would I just be chilling with helping
I
out?
mean, I'd say like all like stations manned, right?
Yeah.
We're about to
Yeah.
hop into unknown space.
Yeah, well, you're
Yeah.
going to jump from known space into unknown, so it's good
Yeah,
to
sure.
get into the
So
practice.
I'd be sitting in the turret,
Okay.
wouldn't I?
Rightio. So
Yeah.
everyone's vac suited up.
Yep.
Cool.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's go.
Rightio. Okay, raise.
9.
Great, because you need an 8. Okay, so you take off. It's pretty smooth sailing. This guy knows how to pilot the ship. So Remington, you're just okaying and checking all the check-ins. They sort of say bid your bond farewell, and you're on your vector. You're heading out raised to 100 diameters. This is normally where I check for an encounter. I know there's none because this is nowhere, basically, this little planet. It's the end of the road, basically. So you don't meet anything out here. If you do, it's very rare, and it's probably a pirate. Can you please
So
give
I'm just
me...
keeping my eye out regardless,
Aye.
right?
Aye. So can you give me a roll, please, Matt, for a sensor sweep, just checking to make sure everything is clear in your flight path. So 2d6 plus 1.
8.
That's nice. That's what you need. So everything's clear. The ship's on the vector. You're feeling quite happy. Steve's looking for travel. Here we go. Now, Captain, as I said, your ship can go either 1G or 2G, I believe.
Let's go 2G. It's just
Okay. So, to get from the ground to planetary orbit at 2G takes you 23 minutes. Boom. You're there. You're out into space. So, let's have a ground to typical planetary jump point. 4 hours. It's going to take you 4 hours to get about 100 diameters away. So that's 4 hours potentially where things can go wrong. You've got your sensor guy making sweeps, so you're not going to accidentally fly into a micro meteor swarm and hold your hull. And you're not going to be, there's no encounters as such at the moment. So you get to the jump point. This is where, one moment before you do anything, Anthony, I want to make sure that they haven't turned it on its head and it's double ones that are the danger point. Boom, boom, 56.
Would I, as Jack, help Garth with anything before the jump?
No.
No. Okay.
Your role is strictly gunning and
Yeah,
and I think you've got some gunning in there.
Yeah, I got gunnery.
Yeah, and gunning. And I think you've got some gunning as well. Gunnery.
No. What's the difference between gunning and gunnery?
Nothing, I'm just saying you gun a lot.
Being clever.
okay.
You've been the security officer. That's your one sort of thing, if you like.
Alright.
Just trying to find the bloomin', because I don't have it as tables at the moment. So I'm just trying to find the jump modifiers. Unless they haven't. Okay, calculate plot, engage drive, jump. Okay, here we go. So,
damn.
to jump, throw 2D with the following DMs. A throw of 0 or less causes a misjump. Okay, so they have reduced it. Engineer, engage drives. So, okay, this is your engineering role. Okay, so once the jump plot is ready, the ship's engineer must throw engineering of 6 or better to power the jump drive. This procedure takes a second and can be done in the same round as the jump throw itself, so this will happen simultaneously. So first of all, where you go, Mr. Engineer? Garth?
Let's try this again.
Hola!
That's not bad.
Yeah,
Double.
it
double
is.
five.
Double fives. So on a piece of paper somewhere or in the notes, put down plus 0.1 to engineering.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay,
Nice.
so The ship engine has been engaged correctly. Now it's back down to the pilot to make sure you don't jump into a bad place. So you're going to roll 2d6. Hang on a second. A throw of 0 or less causes a misjump. So, okay, we better go back. You've got to make a calculating point. So this is where the two of you in the cockpit, I've gone past a step, sorry, because they have changed things slightly. So first of all, Matt, you make a supporting roll with your nav 0. Got to make an 8. But because you got 0, you can still make it as a.
Oh shit!
Not this time. Okay.
Damn.
Radio. Throwing
Did you
a.
get bonus?
Everything looks good on the sensors.
Yeah.
I don't sense anything.
No. You're wearing your helmet backwards. Oh, that'll be it. Okay, I thought it was dark in here. Okay. Okay, pilot, you calculate your own jump point. Now, I'm assuming you're going for... You're not jumping to be 100 diameters away from the star. You're jumping in by the spectral type of planet it is to the suspected life zone. Yeah?
Yes.
So
Yep,
each
yep,
one has a different, like little red giant dwarfs. They are very close to the star. Our ones are sort of a little bit further out. The big ones are like way, way out. So this one is a red giant, so you're going to be going in fairly close. So I need you to make a piloting roll to calculate the jump plot.
10.
Nice.
Yep, but don't forget, your nav is not +2.
Oh, sorry, navigation, not piloting.
Yeah, that's okay. It still makes an 8.
You can just click the text, right?
The what?
You can just click the text and it makes the roll.
Yep.
You don't have to add the modifier to it.
Click what text?
In your skills, like say you've got admin, you can just click admin and it'll put the roll there.
Yeah, and
with
it
your
gives you, and it
modifier
asks you the
next to it.
modifier as well.
You don't
there's
have
any
to add
situational.
it every time.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I go... If I click piloting...
Yep.
And then you just click OK.
Or add a modifier if you have to.
Yeah.
But the good news is,
Oh, there we go.
what a pity
Yeah.
that wasn't the roll.
Yeah. But anyway,
that's okay.
It's easier.
So, radio. So jump is fine. Jump drive is damaged. Using unrefined fuel, no. Within 100 diameters, that's a -8. Okay, 2d6. Flat 2d6 raise.
Computer. 9.
You are not misjumping. Everything
Good.
went smoothly. You're now in jump, going in for the kill, so to speak. I don't know. Perhaps you are going for the kill. Over to this star here on 0809. The only thing you know about it is it's a red dwarf. So if there are going to be any habitable planets, they're going to have to be fairly close to it. And you sort of aim roughly for the life zone.
Sick.
Can I, since we're, I guess, in regular space again, should I make another sensors roll?
No. You've got a week in jump.
Oh shit! So we're still going. Okay.
Yep. So what you can do, guys, because it doesn't require any study, is you can commit yourself to a 4-year physical fitness regime.
Ooh.
What that means is you can do that for 4 years. You make 2 rolls. You make a 2d6 roll. If you get 8 or more, your 3 physical stats, the first 3 stats, go up by 1. At the end of the 4 years, you've got to remember to do this, you make another roll. If you continue for another 4 years, if you make that roll and you continue for another 4 years, that becomes permanent. If you fail, they all fall back down 1, and you have to start over from scratch.
So we make the roll right now.
If you're committing yourself to physical fitness regime, and that's something you
What are the
can do.
drawbacks?
I
mean-
didn't get it.
Nope.
I got doubles though.
Pity you can't use that on anything.
Ah, shit.
Not
So
quite.
fail.
Not quite.
Yeah.
Okay, it's hard. It is hard. Okay,
I'd like to have a sleeping roll again after I wake up.
and finally,
and then I got to roll as the other guy.
him being the physical guy, he's the one that gets it, I betcha. No, not Jack. Okay, none of you can do it for another 4 years. That's the problem.
Oof.
Yep. Okay. So you pretty much gave up on the second day. That was it.
Sounds about right.
Okay, you got a week in hyperspace. It's up to you what you want to do, whether there's maintenance on the ship you have to do. There might be stuff. So in the engineering section, you'll have a small print shop that'll be able to print off basic replacement parts. Some parts you won't be able to because they're a specific or specialized metal or chemical. But roughly 90% of the parts that are on your ship you can fabricate for yourself. If you need to, you can also use that to repair guns, providing the person who is operating it they have to have a level 1 in the gun skill.
Cool. So I guess if we're just like cruising, I guess I could do like the computer thing, like the scanner thing. Can I maybe look through sensors and see if there are any errors, I guess, on the ship? Something we need to, I don't know, take a look at. Any like alerts?
Okay, yep. So you check the ship over. You won't need to make a computer check for that. It's a pretty standard thing. So you're just checking the ship for any unknown cracks that develop or anything that's odd or off. There is nothing odd or off. There's no damage being reported back by the automated systems. Everything's fine. It's turning to be boring. Did anyone think to buy any holo vids to bring on?
Oh shit, I knew I forgot something.
Yeah, okay, so they do have a couple. There's 3 in the library. One is of the Canuce. So there's 3 races in this game from a human perspective, the human empire. There's the Hoenn, which is the dog race that Dean is. There's Canuce, which is like crab-like race, and there's humans. So you have found some adult Canuce porn, which looks more like a wildlife documentary to you, but it's something to entertain yourself with. And there's another very boring safety first film that every ship has.
So I said to everyone, all right, team, it's our first day together. Let's make sure we do this right. We're gonna watch a safety video.
Okay. It's all about 25 minutes. Do you what, sorry?
No, go on.
Okay. Rightio, so you watch through that. It's boring as all get up, and yes, you know everything, and da-da-da-da-da, but you all have watched it. You can all tick the box. The third one is a really, really obscure old piece of human entertainment. You're not quite sure. It's something called Star Trek. It's highly inaccurate, totally inaccurate. The huge mistakes they have. Yeah, but that's all you've got. But you've got the entire series.
I guess I just I plant the ass on the couch or the chair, and I guess that's what I do for 4 weeks. Was it?
1 week and jump. Yep. Okay. Twiddle your
yep,
thumbs.
that's what I'm doing.
You could also, being the doctor, you could check your equipment. Make sure it's all working and everything, and all your stuff.
I'll go ahead and put that off until the last few days.
Okay.
I'll check every couple of hours and check the sensors and stuff too. And,
yep. Everything's right. No, there's nothing in jump space. The one thing in jump space you never do is look into jump space. So, or any portals you've got will all be shuttered. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what happens if you look into jump space, but 2 players have already done that and they know what happens, but they're not going to tell anyone. Let's just say it ended in death.
So we've got no form of internet research capability, even if we have computers.
I think everything we have to take with us.
Pretty much. Yeah. You've got all you've got is a library data, but all it has on it is the spectral type of stars and their positions which help you astrogate. You pretty much are going to be filling in the blanks.
Okay, so I'm a surgeon. You said, right? I've got the. Could I maybe like I don't know, do like implants and stuff? Like if I had an implant, could I implant that into somebody or in myself?
Probably not to yourself unless it's a very minor thing.
And I guess I'd have to check. I don't know what's going on in the storage. I guess like can I go ahead and like check over the medical supplies and see if there's anything interesting in there?
Yep. So the ship's locker I think has 2 additional.
I bought 2
med kits. You bought on a whole lot of medical drugs and stuff. The rest is pretty basic stuff. So you can do surgery. It's more sort of field surgery than anything else, or what you would consider field surgery. Although you can make the entire area sterile on that. It doesn't have auto dock. It doesn't have all little automated things that can do like hypno sprays and all that sort of stuff. You're going to have to do it all by yourself, or haul one of the other guys in to do some of the heavy lifting for you while you do the more delicate stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
But unfortunately, you'll be using your stateroom as the sick bay.
Oh, no, nice.
Yay. Yeah.
So with my repairs, electronics, and mech skills, would I know common parts that would need to be replaced from wear and tear from the ship's turret systems and things like that?
You would have a gunnery is more a skill of using it to attack and defend, less about repair. If you wanted to repair your repair stuff, could tell you that.
Okay. So was it worth me printing spare parts for things?
Usually you don't print anything until you need it.
Okay.
Because you never know what you're going to need. Yep.
I mean, thinking of printing stuff, we got somebody who's likes to build robots and stuff, right? Could we just print parts for robots, maybe like a little recon drone, something like that?
Oh, the ship has.
That's a good idea.
It comes with. Sorry. Oh, it's not mentioned on there. 15 drones that are launchable from orbit to atmosphere. And
so, okay, the 3D printer, I assume, takes material. How's that measured? And
you got a ton of material in the cargo bay.
Okay, and
depending on how much or what you're wanting to produce, you use up so much of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So if Jack can wheedle something with Garth about using a bit of that stuff to start building some basic robot stuff.
I was going to say, I reckon I'll get Garth as the engineer to start designing a robot frame.
Garth
with
doesn't,
Jack.
I don't think, have any interest or any particular skill set to do that. He's got engineering, which is Starship Drive.
Oh,
unless you want a robot that can jump space. Do it on his own. Then. Pretty much, you just need permission by the engineer to use the resources, or by the captain.
Okay.
So I mean, don't forget, you could sell it as a combat droid.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'll just sort of start that process, designing the frame. I guess.
Yep. Okay, so the first week you're just sitting in your room designing the frame, working out how you can make it the most effective, the most efficient, use the least amount of material until you can get a big lot of material to use to either fashion yourself or print. So give me that'll be a mechanical to start off with. It's a building process.
Yeah.
And you can apply your intelligence or education bonus if you have one. Only one of them, though.
Intelligence or educate? No.
Neither.
And I couldn't, and I wouldn't. Yeah. And what does Garth have for mechanical? He's got mechanics 1. So can he help me?
Only if he's not doing his job. Remember, you guys have got jobs for reasons.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
all right, well, I'll just show him.
You can show him at the end and see what he says. Well, okay, that's 1 week done, and you really haven't got past the resources issue. Yeah, it's just you can make something, but you'd be using up an awful lot of resources. You can't get it to be a bit more efficient. But you can show your results to Garth and see what he can do with them.
Okay. Oh, I rolled as Garth. Whoops.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll show my results to Garth.
Okay. Towards the end, before you go into come out of jump space, give me a mechanics roll from Garth, please.
Okay. This is Garth. Oh.
Okay. He grabs out a stylus and he grabs your port comp or whatever comp you've been working off, and he, pulls that off. He says, "Well, there's a working skeleton," and he's reduced the amount used by around about 60%, but it is just a skeleton.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So now you just got to get it cleared by the captain to use the printer to create it. You won't use up an awful lot. It'd be probably around about 10 kgs of the ton.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
And that's a TONNE, not a TON.
Yeah. So I'll have a So, Captain, are you all good with me starting to make my robot frame?
Yeah, why not?
Why
Let's
not?
get some more entertainment on this ship.
Right. Okay. Right,
I can only watch crabs so many times before I get them.
Yeah. That might be on someone's to-do list. Next habitable planet, get some form of entertainment. Okay. You're coming out of jump, so you don't have any much more time. It's taking that long, Jack, to get to this point. You have the okay to start printing when you've got a spare moment.
Alright. I'll let everybody else do whatever they want to do first.
Yeah. Well, I believe Remington's just going over his stuff. Ray's is checking sensor data. Garth is just doing whatever he's doing, so everyone's doing their bits. And then it's coming up. You've got about a half-hour warning to prep to come out of jump. So, what are you doing to come out of jump, guys?
Okay.
I guess I'm going to the pilot, or not the pilot. I'm going to the cockpit to help the pilot do his stuff.
Yep.
I tell the engineer to check everything, make sure everything's all good, ready to rumble.
Yep.
We've got our suits and stuff on.
Right, good. You remember everyone to put in space suits?
Yeah.
Because you're going to be doing something else soon, aren't you?
So did I set this to print before this happened?
Did you what, sorry?
Did I set this to print before this happened? Can I do that?
No. There's a huge amount of energy exchange when you come out of jump. You're moving in dimensions. So the ship needs all the stuff there. You need to be basically sitting your gun ready to power up the minute you come out into normal space.
So I need to do checks as Garth, don't I?
Well, the captain's asked you to do a check on everything. Yep. So that would be an electronics for the power supply unit and a starship engineering for the engines. So 2 rolls.
So this is my electronics roll.
Okay. Garth thinks that everything's okay.
Engineering roll. Ugh.
And the engines are fine, Captain.
Well,
it's all these ones.
I know. Well, I don't know, but you're pretty okay for the first 1 or 2 jumps, guys. Your ship's pretty much new. If this had gone into the game a few sessions, those numbers might start to be worrisome, because I might be hiding something from you.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Should we maybe think about finding another engineer next time we hit port?
He's good. He's got engineering 2. That should be pretty good.
Oh man.
Yeah. Okay. So you're coming out of jump space. Jack, you're in the turret. The shield will come up once you get into normal space. You come through immediately. Remington, we need a scan roll, a computer roll, please.
Okay. That's right. Yeah. Nope. That's.
Holy shit!
God.
what, -3?
Did I hit comms? I hit the.
computer
I thought I had
skills.
computer.
Comms wrong.
Using computer.
There
it's-
it is.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good.
That's
That's the
better.
better one.
Yeah. Comms is fixing. It is using and fixing, but
Yeah.
computer will be enough to get you through. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Interesting stuff. You're not receiving any automated data streams. You're not picking up any other signals. You would expect to come across something. So early indications suggest to you, Remington, that this is a non-inhabited system.
Okay. Can I guess, tell if any planets are around? Do I need to do
Another
a
sweep.
sensors
Yep.
check for that?
Yep. You'll need to spend a bit more time. You can use your either intelligence or education as a bonus if they've got a bonus to them.
Yeah, I think I got one on intelligence.
Cool. So you're spending extra time. Ray's, you've been just told that he suspects that this is a non-inhabited system.
Cool.
But you're sort of. So what are you doing with the ship? Are you bringing it to a halt until he can
Yeah.
work out things?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I don't mind. We'll just,
Yeah.
I don't
So
know,
okay. So it takes a while because whatever speed you enter jump, you exit jump in.
Cool. This is
So
2G.
be very aware of that. Okay.
Yeah. Do we want to kind of just because we don't know, like in terms of like planetary bodies, we don't know what's going on yet, do we?
Nope, you haven't got that information.
No, really.
There's
so I go
there is
ahead and
one
I
thing
ask-
though. There is one thing. You're still alive,
Mm.
so you've passed through the veil, and you
yeah,
didn't.
well,
You
Jump
didn't.
whale.
You didn't get any anomaly or anything in your jump time. So you might want to go over the sensor records and all sorts of other bits and pieces just to see if you can see what's happened there. Because you were expecting
so I guess
something.
I could pour over that since I'm sitting in the
Well, at a later date, you want to sort of work out what's around you so you don't impact on something just at the moment.
Gotcha.
So when you're ready, make your next computer roll.
With the +1 for intelligence.
Hi.
Okay.
Okay, rightio. Doing and also sort of cross-referencing some of your navigational stuff, you do pick up no main bodies, but a whole lot of smaller bodies. So after spending seven hours going through all this information, just give me a second, got to get to the right planet, right system. Here we go. You have detected several ring belts. You also have detected, quite a distance from you though, a gas giant, which itself seems to possess 4 ring belts around it. So,
Okay, so
you've got
I guess-
fuel.
I guess I go ahead and I relay the information to the captain and the pilot.
Right,
And,
yeah. Okay, that's what you can do, and then you might want to switch over and start looking at other stuff.
yeah,
like
so
you're
I'll
wanting.
while they're doing their thing and doing their gas scoop, I'll just go ahead and look at the I guess the data from the veil.
Yep. Okay, having trying to interpolate that. So, what are you doing, Captain? You've
I
got
guess
a good sensory readout of the system. You know where to avoid what. You know roughly where the gas giant is.
I guess I'll head towards the gas giant just to get some.
Okay,
fine.
1 or 2G.
Go 1.
1G, okay. So that's going to take you 25 hours to get there. So just under a day. So what happens is you get to what normally happens is you go at 1G for this round, then you go another 1G, which makes it 2G, go another 1G, which makes it 3G, and another 1G makes it 4G, and you just keep on adding. It's a vector sort of system. Then halfway you flip the ship over and you decelerate by 1G, so that by the time you reach rough orbit area of the planet, you're sort of at a G that you can control, like a 0 or a 1G.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, above 0, it's between 0 and a 1G. So, okay, so I need you to make an easy nav roll, please. Just a 2d6 plus 0, I think it is for you. And if you have a bonus on your, I'm going to say education, you can add it.
4.
It's just what you need. Wasn't a hard roll, but good God, you made it hard. Okay, so you have plotted a course. You start taking the ship in that direction. Yep. Okay, no piloting roll needed because you've plotted the course. You know all the data. So it's going to take you just over a day, but at least you got stuff to look at. Jack, you're staring at space, stars. It's all rather boring. Nothing to shoot out here.
Okay.
The captain's done a pretty good job. You can sort of bring up your sort of trajectory and all that sort of stuff and roughly where things are. So you know roughly when you get close to something you might want to be sitting in the turret just in case you want to play let's shoot the rock that passes by us or something.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
sure.
you've got several hours before that even happens. After 7 hours, Remington, make your computer roll, and you've got no bonus to your education. Is that right? Perry? Matt?
Yep, sorry, I was muted. Yes, no, 8, so that's no bonus.
Okay, give me a roll, please. See what you get.
5.
God damn it. Okay, there's a couple of energy signals that you can't. Oh, that's a double 2. Add the 0.1 to your computer roll.
How did I get a double with just 5?
Because you got two twos plus the bonus of 1.
I thought I wasn't doing a bonus.
It's your computer roll.
It means
so
you get.
Oh yes. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes,
that's all cool.
Okay.
Yep, and don't forget just to write it somewhere in your notes that you've got a 0.1 added to your computer skill.
You betcha.
Because you got a double there. Okay, rightio. So, I mean, that stuff will be taken care of in the background as we get to know these systems anyway. What you've got from your time at the computer and trying to look at different energy signatures, look at different things, there is a definite period. It was about 40 seconds, around about on, let's say, day 2.7. There was 40 seconds where the energy readings were not consistent anymore with background. So background energy readings of whatever that is, jump space, was different, but you're not sure what that means. You just know there was about a 40-second difference.
Okay. Not much I can do, I guess, but just log the information.
Yep, and until you can pick up something else.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got the rest of pretty much a day. Jack, you get up into your cockpit, your gunning cycle, looking up. There's nothing within range. The captain's keeping it nice and safe. Good, but your fingers are a bit itchy. Wanting to pull those triggers, seeing what this thing can do. So yeah.
Well, if I'm 100, I'm very confident that nothing's coming up. Can I just start my skeleton printing?
At the moment, you could. Yeah, you don't have much in the way of energy drain on your ship.
Yeah.
So once
I'll just start that
happens, you go back in and start printing off. So you input your stuff and the stuff that Garth sort of gave you. Pull out the raw data, put it into the print machine, and you start printing it. So what you're left with is basically, it looks like a little servery table. It has 4 straight legs. It has wheels at the bottom, which is where it's going to be motivated. There'll be electronic motorized wheels, which you can send down the circuitry down the leg or print it on the leg if you want to power them. You have a small round, about a foot round shelf table-like structure at the top, which is going to hold the CPU, the sensor base, the weapon base, on a like a pivot, sort of thing. At the moment, it's a very basic little machine, but that's sort of what you've got in mind at the moment. That's the smallest you can get to. So you're basically building the locomotion part of the vessel. You still have to work out how you want to power this thing. Batteries would be great, but that consumes quite a bit of resources because you've got to change the raw material into different metals, so you might want to try to gain those elsewhere.
Sure.
If you were going to go a small nuclear pack, you'd have to get permission to actually build one of those, because obviously in a fight, should it get hit and should they actually pierce the shielding that you have to make on it, could be quite dangerous.
Oh, well, hold on. I'm thinking that might be a good thing, right? Let's go ahead and make us a little suicide drone, like a little.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think though? We got a group of enemies. We can just poke a hole in the shielding and just send it on down.
Yeah, overload the reactor, throw it into a bunch of enemies.
Yeah.
Right. So, contrary to popular belief, overloading the reactor doesn't make it explode that much.
Well, maybe not over. No, not overloading it, but
irradiate everything.
They get a massive dose of radiation.
Yeah.
They're going to feel pretty sick, and they're not going to want to fight anymore.
That's okay. So, just a point to Remington. That breaks so many war conventions.
Oh, we're out there. No, we're out here in unknown space. We don't know. We don't know anything about that.
But you do know that Ray's your captain is recording as much as he possibly can.
Okay, so I guess I bite my tongue.
No. You might want to suggest it quietly to Jack. No. Well, I don't know about that because you'd have to have permission to record them if they're somewhere like in their own room or something. That's still sacrosanct. But like Remington, I don't know. You might suggest that to Jack quietly in the room somewhere, and say, "Have you ever thought of like having something that could like let the radiation out and da 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 da?" So you could have that talk. But it's up to Jack because I mean, Jack's got to work out what power system is going to be best and how to regenerate the power. What does he want on the device as a offensive material? What sort of shielding is it? It's got lots of questions to ask himself.
Gotcha.
All he's got is a pair of working legs eventually. That's it. Okay. At the moment, he's got a little remote control drone.
And he might even want batteries instead. So that's maybe a conversation for a later date.
Yeah, but batteries can be rigged to blow up.
I like this. I like rigging things to blow up idea.
Don't you have demolitions as a skill?
Nah.
Oh, someone does.
I've got it.
Okay. Now we know Remington's delight in blowing things up.
Nice.
Okay, I think Jack and Remington are going to get on
the unit with explosives.
And send it in. Okay. Put on one of those toilet things and say make it a Dalek. Yeah.
Put a vest from Swordfish.
There you go. Okay, rightio. So, has anyone thought to capture any astrological data of the system they're in?
I thought of that. It just now occurred to me. Can I make a roll for that?
Yep. No, that's you just turn it basically on. You just got to think of these things. That's all. It doesn't require anything. You're just going to grab as much astronomical data as you can, dump it into the library data, so you've got something to refer to later on.
Okay, I flip the switch and start laying breadcrumbs for the way home.
Rightio. Eventually, you go through a night cycle. You're awake. You are approaching the gas giant. This gas giant is a sort of a yellowy, greeny color, which would indicate probably sulfur. Probably some ammonia. So you want to be careful going into it. Now we need Rays to make a piloting roll to basically take the ship in, open up the vents and start gathering the gas. Now, do you want to spend the time? It'll take you 5 days. So that's 5 days worth of, and you got to keep track of air support, life support. But do you want to spend the 5 days in gathering and refueling with refined fuel, or just gathering and just taking off with unrefined fuel?
I will spend the time because we have it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll spend the 5 days.
Good call.
Rightio. Okay, so that means it's going to take a couple of piloting rolls. You're just being really safe, which is a good call at the moment. So can you give me your first piloting roll, please?
11.
Beautifully done. Not a double?
No.
Nope.
Okay. So the first one, he comes in, he sucks everything up, and he comes back out, exits really lovely. The Garth, you can start turning the pumps over, and you're in the first day you've created your first 5 ton of refined fuel. The ship, I think, requires 24 ton of refined fuel. So, but some of that's already, you've only used the 20 ton in the jump. So you've only got to replace 20 ton plus the fuel. You'll need to replace another ton to replace the fuel that you've been using to power the ship to do all of this. So
would
5
it be
days.
possible? Would it be possible, for me to kind of just siphon off a little bit of this fuel, so I can make some, I don't know, little handheld explosives?
Ooh.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking the DM if that's something I can do as a demolitions guy.
It's a possibility because you've got 2 red. Well, sulfur would be a really good one. Ammonium as a gas grenade bomb thing would be quite horrible. Again, it crosses so many conventions.
So I don't really ask anybody out loud, but I'm thinking.
You
I'm
think of
thinking
it,
if
definitely
that's
can.
something-
Yep. And looking at how the captain's got to do this, he's going to have to take a 5th day to get that 1 ton. So he's probably going to have extra on that last day.
Okay, yeah, I'd if I can kind of surreptitiously, siphon some of that fuel off. I'd like to go ahead and take some and try to make a couple of little
compress
gas
it
bombs.
and perhaps put it
in a little
in a small
canister with a remote
canister.
detonation.
Possibly, yep. Okay, and hide it somewhere in your stateroom.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see if that can happen. But first of all, back to the second day there, Rays. Diving in, getting some more gas.
Cool. Where's my pilot? 2. 8.
Okay,
Oh,
this is close.
hold on. No, it's added an additional +2, so it's actually 6.
Well, that's okay. You've got a piloting +2.
Yeah, no, but it's added an additional +2 on top of it. So it's added 2 + 2 + 2 + 2.
Oh, so it's a 6.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where Garth gets grouchy. You manage to get the fuel and start the process, but you've scratched up the hull. You have had particulate impact on the hull. Your hull doesn't have any armor, so any damage is best that it is repaired as soon as possible.
I want to go ahead and go through the the sensors and see if anything's critical has been damaged.
Okay, make your roll, please.
That's going to be computers, correct?
Yep.
Alrighty. Intelligence modifier or just?
This would have to be intelligence because you don't have full understanding of the ship. So you're going to apply your intelligence. So that's not you're not trained in the ship stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. Nice.
And doubles.
Is it a double?
Yeah, double 5s.
Aye.
Well, that's 0.2 already. He's getting lots of experience. Having a look over everything, no primary, secondary, or tertiary systems are damaged. It has pitted some of the external hull. That can be, you can just take a small amount of the material, print it off, and then weld the plate on to that area to keep it protected. That will require you to go out on a spacewalk and use your mechanics to do that. You have
so
0.
I would do that, wouldn't I?
Yep. Garth would. 0G 0 or 1?
Oh, Garth would. Okay. He's got
Well, whoever's got the better 0G and mechanic. Because it's mechanic roll.
0G1, and I have 0. I thought I had 0G1. I don't have 0G. I'm 0G -1 and Garth's +1.
Yeah, because yours is your jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, so Garth would do that then.
Okay, rightio. So he's going to go out there. I'm not going to complicate matters by making him do a 0G roll because there's nothing dangerous out there. He's just got to get the print plate, put it out, and weld it on. So give me a mechanic roll, please.
Okay, here we go. We can not get a -1. Do I get I just do a modifier of 0, right?
It's a 2d6 plus whatever his skill level is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
So 8.
Was it a double?
It wasn't.
Okay. But it's all squared away. He's happy with that. He's not worried about the ship going into an atmosphere or anything. Comes back in. Reports all clear. Third day. Where you go, Captain? Next dive. What you've noticed is that
5.
oh god. Okay, he's pitting up the hull, which means Garth's got to go out there and do it again.
Okay.
But that's okay, because low numbers mean I'm going to get high numbers soon.
We hope.
So do another roll.
Oh, Garth, awesome work. Okay, he comes in after the third day. Fourth day.
7.
You're fine, because you actually need less than an 8. But no scratching up.
Cool.
Garth is very happy. He doesn't have to get into a spacesuit and get out there and look at the yawning mouth of a gas giant that's trying to pull him into his death and crush him mercilessly in the depths of the high pressure. That's always a danger when you're around a gas giant. So last day, you're diving in to get a little bit, not too much. Okay, dive in, get as much as you need. Okay, I'm going to ask a certain surgeon on board ship. Are you actioning your plan?
Yes. I just want to kind of gather and compress a small amount of this fuel.
Okay. Well, it won't be fuel because that's the fuel plant. You'll get the gas itself, yeah. Because it works off hydrogen, the fuel. So you're only putting water into it. You're using the raw elements. Okay, so so you're going to have to give me a mechanic roll.
Okay.
To do it. And then if you want to cover your tracks, a computer roll to change slightly the sensor data.
Yeah, mechanic. Fuck.
Okay, you couldn't do it. But double ones. You've learnt from experience.
What do you know?
There you go.
Do you get it? Do you still get it from double ones?
Yep.
Because I did
Any
a double one further up.
Any double.
I did get double ones.
Originally, it was just double sixes. I'm trying to see how it goes. I didn't realize we were going to get so many doubles. I might change that later on, but for the moment, any doubles counts.
Works for me.
Although I'm a bit worried the amount of doubles that have been thrown. Anyway.
I got double one for engineering.
Speak for the stars, I've rolled 1.
2.
Yep.
I got 2.
Okay, cool. So are you trying to use the computer just to cover up your sensor data? That you did try to do this? Remington. Matt.
I keep forgetting that I'm on push to talk.
That's right.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Computers. Submit, and that's an 8.
As far as you're concerned, there's been no one's tried anything. It's all totally fine. Next time.
Here.
Yeah. And of course, by the time that there's a next time, you might have been able to get and create some gear that might make it a bit more easier.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, rightio. So you're fueled. You have used 2 days, 1 week, 5 days, 7. You've used 14 days of life support.
Yeah, I've got that here.
Yep. So you've got another 4 weeks. Okay. Before you need to really panic and say, "Oh shit, we're going to die of asphyxiation." So, how fast do you want to get out to your jump point from the gas giant?
We'll do it at a 1G, and just kind of take our time and see if there's anything else up there.
Okay. Rightio, can I get Remington to give me a sensory suite, please?
You got it. Computer +1 for intelligence, still right. And there you go. That's a 14. Damn. Did I do that right?
Nice.
You got double sixes. Oh my goodness.
That works for me.
Okay. People are thinking of vacking the surgeon. It's just too lucky. Anyway, what happens is that you do your last sweep. Every piece of data that you've gathered on this place still confirms that it's an uninhabited zone. You haven't picked up anything that would be out of the ordinary about that. And everything seems to be secure and safe on the vector you're carrying on to make the jump to the next place. But what you want to do now, because it's a jump away, one jump away, this is where the two of you in the cockpit can support each other. So if Remington can do an aid for Razor's nav to see if there's a gas giant present in 0710.
Okay, what kind of roll? Just regular?
That's a nav roll, which is nav 0, I think, for you. Need an 8 or more.
Have any nav? So that'd be -3.
No, 0, because you got pilot. Remember, pilot and nav are this similar.
Yep,
It's just, yeah.
Gotcha.
So just got a 0 on it because it's not your primary.
Okay, 5.
Nope, no help there. Okay, radio raise.
He got doubles again. What the hell?
Got doubles.
Wow.
I'm thinking that this doubles for everything might stop after tonight's one.
I've rolled so many. I've only got 2.
Oh, don't let me roll. Don't let me ruin it for everybody else.
No.
Okay.
Well, you all got one at least. Okay, radio. So going into it.
Cool. We all good to go.
No. You've got to make a roll to see your pilot. Your nav roll, please. Raise.
Cool. 8.
Perfect. You do detect there are multiple, says Steve before he actually looks at the entry. Hang on a second. Yes, you do detect that there are multiple gas giants in that system. You will definitely have fuel, at least.
Where are we jumping to, sorry?
0710.
Cool.
Okay.
So where do we get life support from?
Other races that have technological stuff. Otherwise, you have to gather it. You would land on a planet that's got a compatible atmosphere to resupply that. You'd have to gather food and store it somehow so it doesn't go off. You'd be doing that from like planet to planet. You do have some refrigeration stuff, but most of your stuff is pre-packed stuff. Water on board a ship hardly ever has to be bought. It's topped up every month or two because all the water in the ship is recycled. So your urine, everything's recycled into drinking water and whatever. So, just to give you an example, basically this system that you're jumping out of needs a name, and I've just labelled it Lux, Lux, as in light.
Yeah, I like the name light.
Yeah, because that's about the only thing that is in the system is light. So if we were looking at an entry, so if anyone's going to keep an entry of the system, okay, this is what the entry would look like. Okay, and I'll read this to you so you know what it is. Okay, Lux is the name of the system. It's in the hex 0809. It has X, no starport. So the six numbers are, the first three numbers are the physicality of the planet. So it's size 0. There's no actual major planet that's habitable. So it's all ring systems, asteroid systems. Because of that, there is no atmosphere. It's a 0. Because of that, there's no hydrographic levels, which is a 0. There are no people in the system, so that's the fourth 0. Because there's no people, there's no government system, which is the fifth 0. Because there are no people in the sixth thing, there's no law level. And lastly, the other 0 is the tech level. There is no tech in here apart from what you fly in, which is a 0. And there is a G for gas giant present. That's how you'd read that system. So if you want to start keeping track of that, and when I set up the page on 8+, so I'll invite you to that too, Matt, if you want to you can have a look at all the other games and that. There will be a place where I'll eventually get it so that you can actually add your entries to that particular part, and tell your sort of story from Remington's sort of viewpoint. You know, I have gleefully now made 5 of my, I don't know, melting bombs or something, whatever you do with ammonia acid or something, sulfuric acid, whatever you've created in these lovely things.
Gotcha. 5 little mustard gas canisters.
Yeah. I'm perturbed at Ray's. Last time I checked, he had 2 arms. Now he's got 3. Where did he get the extra one? That sort of stuff, yeah. Why has he got tentacles coming out of his head? But anyway, talk a bit more about that later on. So that's how, if you want to keep record, that's how you do it. And I'll help you with the numbers and stuff as you get, so you get familiar with what the numbers mean. But in this case, it all means there's absolutely nothing here except for a gas giant and the star. Yeah. So you have detected on 0710 gas giants. So you know there's a G at the end of its description. And multiple gas giants. So that's good. That means it's the possibility of, if it's got at least 2 gas giants, it's got possibility of having more planets. So you go through your system of navigation plot by the pilot, and this is where you can aid the pilot should you wish to. Remington.
Yes, I'd like to do that.
Okay, make your piloting roll first to see if you can aid him.
Okay, 9.
Okay, you get a +1 from the aid that Remington's giving you. You need to make your plotting your jump raise.
Let's go.
Another piloting roll with the +1 of his. Nicely done. Okay, so you've got all that lined in. You are not using unrefined fuel. So first of all, you travel out, which is about 17 hours to the jump point, which is nice and easy. And then, I've just got to look up those bonuses again, penalties for jumping. So can I get the engineer to give me a 2d6 plus engineering?
Yeah.
I think I know what you need to engage the engines and make sure everything's cool. Done beautifully. Is that a double?
No.
Okay. Rightio. Okay. You get the green light from Garth. Raise. Make your
good. All good to go. Ready.
And this time his voice seems to carry a bit of conviction with it. Like
I'm very confident.
Very confident. Yeah. And you make the roll to jump into jump space. Okay. Rightio. When you jump in, what are you going for? Gas giant area, habitable life zone area.
I will go for gas giant because I know we've got a couple of weeks left of life support, but I think our next stop will be for life support.
Okay. Rightio. So it's a week spent in jump. Anyone doing anything? Did Remington want to go back to the data that he got from the jump across the veil? Or did he want to interpret any other data? Or did he want to start working on his little, how can I siphon off some gas and weaponize it? And if you are talking, we're not hearing you, Matt.
God damn it, my bad. Sorry again.
That's all cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to data, see if there's anything more I can glean from sensors data.
Okay, so that's the whole week. You're doing that. Mr. Sky Runner?
Jack is gonna start looking into
He's done the
what?
locomotion systems. What is he doing
Yeah,
next?
so he's gonna look at so he's done is he done all the power to that, or is it just motors and wheels at the moment?
At the moment, he's powering it off a remote control device, sort of thing,
Okay.
beaming some energy to it. He hasn't
So
made
he's
autonomous. He's just checked that it can move and has enough dexterity.
So he's gonna start designing the sensors for judging distances and visual awareness, vision systems, and things like that. Just to all the navigational type.
So on the visual things, is it going to be camera vision? Is it going to be thermal vision? Is it going to be infravision? What sort of vision systems are you wanting to put in place on it?
It's going to be what's infravision?
Infravision is done in low light. It detects heat. You've also got low light vision. You've got thermal vision, which is another. It's much more refined than infravision. Infravision would be cheaper and less costly, cheaper and easier to make, but it's not as refined as thermal vision.
Oh yeah, so I'll do thermal vision.
Thermal vision, okay. Thermal vision and ordinary camera facial recognition stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, rightio. So that's relatively easy because you can pull some of that from the computer, and it would just be miniaturizing it and setting it up. So I think this one would be more an electronic role, and just make it, and it's going to be a much easier role to get. So
yeah, it's going to be heaps easy for me, hopefully. Yep. I got a 9.
Cool, no double. Always check for the double. Okay, so yeah, you got something that would be compatible. That's not using too much. You are going to. I mean, the more stuff you put on this thing, the bigger the power unit is going to have to be.
Yeah, I mean that's a requirement anyway. But
yeah. So, are you wanting 360 vision? Are you wanting 4-point vision? Just binocular vision. Binocular, human type binocular vision.
I'd do like standard front vision, but I'd have it rotation like R2D2 style.
Yep, rotation. Well, that'll be more on the gimbal, the thing that moves it around.
Yeah.
Okay, rightio. Yeah. So it's just bipedal, normal human vision, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So you'd need to make sure that the captain's okay for you to take that, because you're going to take a little bit extra because you need to change it to several different substances. But as long as he's okay with that, he's already given you permission. That should just proceed.
Hey, Captain! Look what I've done. I've designed the vision system for my autonomous robot. I really need to send this to the printer and get it started right away.
What's wrong with my vision?
This is an autonomous robot. It's here to protect us.
Are there any explosives on it?
Not yet, but
why don't
we
you
can
put
add to it.
And then maybe you can talk about. I don't know.
No. I've got a method. I've worked out a method with Garth and have discussed it with him. This is the plan of attack. We're going to work on the critical systems first, and then go on to the weapon systems.
Well, let me know when you want me to put a bomb on it.
Oh, definitely, because we're definitely going to do that.
We don't really know if we want to be putting bombs on things, killing people with. We don't know.
Well, we don't have.
We're not yet. We're not yet. We need to get there. So this is beginning stages.
And at the moment, the only place it could really do well in is protect the inside of the ship.
Yeah, that's right.
Unless you're going to some flat place.
This thing could protect us while we're sleeping.
Yeah, thinking how come it's on wheels? Why don't you have maybe you should put some wings on it, or maybe a couple of rotors? Maybe turn it into a helicopter.
That's a good
Well, the thing
a
is, he
good
could have.
option
Yeah,
for version 2.
yeah.
I don't want to waste the resources that I've already used.
Version 2, you want a grav unit on it.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's what we're going for.
Yeah.
That's the aim. But at the moment, we're just gonna start with the basics.
Hey, do you think that thing could you could hook up like a little grappler arm in the welder or something that can instead of
Yeah,
you
that
going
sounds
out
like
and
a good
fixing it?
idea. And then we could send it outside, and Garth doesn't have to do the repairing when
Yeah.
the captain smashes into things.
I've never smashed,
Sorry, Dean.
I haven't smashed into anything.
So, are you giving permission to proceed with the next step?
With the eyes, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
cool.
Okay. Right. They're just printing off. You don't need to roll
Yeah.
anything. They'll just
Okay.
be made in the rest of the week that you're in
Yeah.
jump. Can Remington give me a? I'm just trying to think. What would be the best roll here? Not really using his skill. Okay, so Garth might be able to support Remington with his sensor stuff about the void, because Garth has studied in starship engineering, right? So he understands the sort of physics behind all that sort of palaver.
Gotcha.
So taking that data to him might be beneficial if Garth can make a roll to then let you have a bonus from his roll.
Yeah.
wait,
So okay.
Computer skill. Okay.
Well,
Okay. So I guess I went ahead and I
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because it's just that at the moment you've tried just your version of trying to interpret the raw data with computer skill didn't work, so now you need to start looking at different avenues. What else
Gotcha.
could
So I go ahead and I take the data to Garth, and I show it to him and I say what the fuck is going on here? I can't wrap my head around it.
Okay, Garth, give him a roll versus engineering.
Yeah. All right. Here, let me take a look at this.
Okay. Ooh, is that a double?
Nah.
No, but it gives you a +2 on your next roll because it's a 12.
Okay. And that's gonna be computers.
So it's yeah, that's what you're using.
Computers +2, you said, right?
And your computer skill, yeah.
11.
Nice. Okay. From your data, what Garth has had done, he's able to produce a 3D representation of the field. And so he sort of shows you a little mock-up model on the Omnicomp. What it looks like normally when you're going through, it's like a shell, it's like a cocoon that's based, and it's around up to about 3-4 meters away from the actual hull of the ship. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What you see, and he twists and he turns the whole thing, so you can see that normally that's about everywhere. When you've gone through the whatever it was you went through, it warped the field, the shell around your ship. So it sort of pushed everything near the front really, really close to the hull. So it would have only been about a foot away from the hull. But weirdly enough, it expanded like the last 5 feet of the hull, the back part of the hull, and like it really ballooned out there.
So we're like streamlined.
It's like, if you make a circle with your finger, your pointing finger and your thumb, and if you were to draw something through that, it sort of gets narrow, but it bulks up at the back of it.
Oh.
It's sort of that effect. Still not sure what it is, but you've definitely got now a physics effect to look at and explore a bit more on.
Something. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody here have any science
I have
skills?
science, but my
okay.
is psychology.
Yeah, but remember, that's your number 1. All the others are 0.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I can do a science check.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I bring all this to him and yeah.
Okay. Already on. Okay. And do you have? Okay. Are you going to either employ your intelligence or your wisdom as the bonus stat?
I don't get any bonuses.
Okay, but so you can choose whichever one, but it doesn't matter. It's just just how you want to.
Which is not the lowest. I'll go. Which one did you say? Intelligence or
Education, because those would be the stats that would apply to this.
I'll apply education.
Okay. Yep. So, make your roll.
10.
Okay, you're not sure what's going on, but you have a working theory. Because of the multiplier on your jump engine, it might have been stronger than previous models. If that field had collapsed or come in contact with the hull, the field would have collapsed and the ship would have imploded in jump space.
Okay, so I'm thinking like maybe, it seems to me like, we're moving along, kind of through jump space, and then like we hit like I don't know, something like thicker, like we're moving from air to water, and like suddenly it's harder to get through it, and that's why like the front of the shell is kind of
compressed,
like kind of condensing, and the rear is elongating.
Yep.
So maybe.
So you've got a working theory there.
Yeah.
What creates that and how you manipulate that is further steps to look at. But the other part of the working theory is because your drive is just fortified with the new multiplier, that's probably what saved you. Because none of the other ships, you're the first multiplier jump to go through.
So we're the first people here.
Well, you've never heard back, yeah, and you know you're alive, so this is your working theory until something else proves it either right or wrong.
How long would it take if we sent a message back to where we started? How long would it take? Assuming they replied immediately.
2 light years away.
Oh shit!
Something like, I think that's 40 years to send it there, and 40 years if it was traveling at the speed of light. No, not if it could get to the maximum speed. No, it's not. It's more than 40 years.
So it doesn't travel at the speed of light?
Nope. No. Communication travels at the speed of jump.
Okay.
Yeah. So everything's always a week later.
Okay.
Yeah. Makes for interesting things that happen in the game.
Well, I guess we're not going to hear from them until we go back then.
Yeah.
We could send ourselves a letter to get in 40 years.
Yeah, but you're only going to be here for a year, 6 months in and 6 months out.
No, I mean like back to the where we came from.
Terminus.
Yeah.
You could, but I have to work out how long it's going to take. It's going to be much more than 40 years.
Okay.
I'd have to work out how long radio signals, and then of course there'll be decay.
Oh yeah.
You are talking about 2 light years.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a distance and a half. And that's providing there is empty space in between, because you might have something in the middle that's to do with it. You got to pass through the veil, and you're still not quite understanding the full impact or the full mechanics behind it about what it is. So your radio signal might hit that, and then it just might dissipate.
We can still see like the stars, all that good stuff. Like
definitely, all those easy to see. Yep. So it's not affecting light.
So we couldn't like shine a bright ass laser towards them and start talking to them in binary, and maybe get like a 2-year message.
Hell no.
I guess it. Yeah.
And do we want people to know that we're here?
Well, you do, kind of.
Well, we want to. Oh, yeah, that's right. We got 2 contracts, right?
Yeah, we've got an education one, so I'm dealing with all the logicals.
Right, and I'm looking for like people like people to trade with, that
business,
kind of thing.
Business deals. Yep.
Yeah. And there's about jack of that right now, I guess. So
at the moment.
What are we doing now? I think we've done all we can do with the
Pretty
science,
much.
or the sensors. Are we going to refuel?
Well, you got to get out of jump first. You're still in jump
Oh,
space.
that's right.
So
Yeah,
is
right.
Ray's doing anything? Is anyone else on board doing anything else? I know what Jack and Remington are doing.
No, I don't know. Like I might potter off and look at their weird legs and eyes and.
Okay.
I don't even know what I would do. Read a book.
Okay. Watch that safety video again.
Yeah,
But this
that
time
crash
in
population.
reverse, or you do it in like half speed. You just start mucking with it or something. Okay, so you come down the point where you've got your half hour warning sign.
Cool. I tell everyone get ready. Like, cool. We're good to go. Like, check the engines. I feel like I'm repeating myself all the time, but safety first, guys.
Right.
Yep.
So
Yep, I run to the cockpit with the pilot and help him do his thing.
yeah. Is everyone doing just that?
Vec suits. I tell everyone, put your Vec suits on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know how many times I need to remind you. If you
Yep.
die, oh well.
Yeah,
It's fine.
I'll be really angry, but I'll take your share of the money.
If I run out of life support, I'll just eat you.
Yeah, here you go.
Wow.
Well, you're not quite sure whether human is nourishment to a hound, but I guess we'll find out. Okay, you decompress your ship. Jack's in his little pew-pew station, hoping to pew-pew. You're coming in on one of the gas giants, you hope, or in the gas giant zone. I think Garth's been asked to make another engineering check just to see where things are. So Garth first.
Yeah.
Nice.
Everything looks reasonably good.
Yeah.
We're all checked everything out. Everything looks okay.
Garth sounding quite relaxed. Okay, so boom, you shift from jump to normal space. Okay, Remington, seeing if you're picking up anything.
Yep, computers, click 8.
Okay, you are picking up signal. It's faint. It is coming from in system, so you'll definitely be able to eventually triangulate and narrow in on it once you head in system. But you are around about 15 hours at 1G from a small gas giant. So he's placed you perfectly.
Can I use my computer roll and see if I can maybe try and detect a stronger signal?
A what, sorry? A stronger signal?
Yeah.
What do you mean by stronger?
Well, you know how... What is... Okay, don't worry. Don't worry. Like, you know how you said he gets a faint signal? Is it because he rolled an 8, or is it because that's what's there?
You have to work that out. If you want to roll to see if you can pick up a stronger signal, you can do that. If you want to just leave it as it is, because it could be a physics thing.
Well, if it's a physics thing, he could wait like an hour, right? And then make another roll, and kind of the difference in distance could kind of give us a better idea of which direction that signal is coming from.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd wait a bit more than an hour because you need to travel significant distance. So perhaps halfway in your 15 hours to get to the gas giant, you make another roll.
No, but I got double ones. Yay!
There you go. Okay, alrighty. You don't pick up any signal.
Add that to your point one.
There you go. What you are also doing, I forgot to tell you, sorry, Remington, is that you would just flip the switch to try to send the signal through the computer to see if it's a communication of any sort, to try to decipher, try to translate, all those sort of things while you're waiting.
Okay, yeah.
So that's been running since you got the first signal. Forgot to tell you about that, sorry.
Okay.
Because otherwise, it's not assumed that people are going to talk your language. So that's running in the background. You just have a look at that, look halfway through, and oh yes, what it can decipher is, yes, it does seem to be some language, and the computer is building up a language base. So it's looking for repetitions, it's looking for certain things, So it hasn't worked it all out yet, but it would suggest that there is intelligent life in this system.
Does I mean, if there are like any kind of like phrases or words it can pick out, does it seem hostile
Not
or
yet.
not
Not
yet?
yet. No. Um, there is. You notice there is another carrier wave that is carrying a second signal, different to the first, more obvious one. So if you want to play around with your computer skill to see if you can work out what that's about.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and investigate that one a little bit further.
Cool. Make your roll.
Cool.
It's a video signal, but it's a very, it's like going through your database. This is sort of like your systems send it all on what we call the unibeam. So video, audio, all goes through one line. Yeah? It's all compacted into one packet. This one's using two different frequency bases. So you recognize there's a video signal, so you're trying to clear it up. So this is going to take a bit of a while. So we're going to move over to the captain making the dive into the ship, into the planet, into the gas giant first.
Okay.
9.
5. Yep, that's 5 ton of fuel. Okay, next day you can have another computer roll. You check on the language. It's still working on the language, but it seems to have worked out some of the alphabet.
Gotcha. So computer roll one more time. Assuming we're on the next day already.
Yep.
Okay. 6.
Okay. Nothing further on the language.
Okay.
You have been able to compile as much as possible of the video signal. It's really hard to tell. It's degraded quite a lot, so two things sort of become obvious. One is that these signals are not very powerful, so they weren't intended to travel great distances. So the other one, it looks like it's really hard to make out. You can see some moving sort of figures, more than a couple. They kind of give you you sort of look at them and you kind of think, are they floating in space? Do they not have gravtech?
Oh.
So you're not quite sure. You're going to have to try to tidy up the picture again the next day.
I'd like to talk to who was saying they also had a computer skill.
Hey.
Race.
I'd like to talk to Reyes and ask him like if he might want to kind of help me out on the comms and maybe see if we can kind of triangulate sort of like a direction.
Yeah, why not? Thanks to your captain for help.
Yeah, that'll happen on the way in because you are aimed at the gas giant at the moment, which won't give you any triangulation. You're going to have to move through the system to triangulate.
Well, we could kind of compare that to the first signal we got, correct, when we just came out of jump?
Yeah,
right.
So you have to do another sample, but yep.
Travel. Okay, so we got 2 samples. We need 1 more.
Yep.
Okay, that's all I got for today.
Cool. Okay. So Jack, you've been pretty quiet. You've sort of worked out the eyes of your little operation. What are you moving on to next?
I'm gonna add. I'm gonna try and do like an AI compute module in the CPU to see if it can learn on its own. So it can sort of like I can press the go button and it'll map out the ship and find all the nooks and crannies, and it should drive itself around.
Okay, so first thing first, you don't have the tech level experience or equipment to make AI. You do have the tech level to do what you just described. It can move around by accident and basically understand the parameters of the ship.
So it will use its sensors to detect where things are, but it won't.
Of course, you could always feed that in.
You can make a Roomba. That's about it.
Pretty much. That's what you at the moment. That's what you're making.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy with that.
Okay, so do you have computing?
I have computing -1.
That's what you're going to try to use.
Can I get one of the guys to?
They are a bit busy with their stuff at the moment.
They're busy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll just use that. I got a 6.
No, not quite.
Alright.
You are so you've grabbed a couple of the spare things that are on board ship. Just some basic IC units, ICU units and stuff, and some RAM. You grabbed a small solid state crystal because it's all crystal recording things.
Yeah.
You've built the holster and all that sort of stuff for that. You've mounted that on. You still haven't got a power unit, so you can't actually get it to do anything.
I can't test anything anyway.
Yeah, but you're building that. But that's as far as you've got in the time that you've been spending. So it's slowly being developed. Now it looks kind of like a bowl on a table is what you're getting at the moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that stands about 3 foot tall, and the bowl's around about another 8 inches.
Yeah.
It's got bits and pieces around the rim. Okay, and a sort of screw top head. Okay, the third day, Captain.
Third day, I'd like to, make another roll and.
Yep, I'll just get him to do the.
6.
Okay. Just about scrape the engine. Scrape the ship. Okay, rightio. Once the captain's done that, you two can make your. Captain can help you with a computer roll to see if you can fix up the video file.
I got an 8.
+1.
+1, 7. Yeah, so that's an 8.
Right. Okay, you do clear it up. So,
Sweet.
give me a second. I will now show you. So, these beings, because there's about 4 or 5 of them you can see in the in the video, they appear to be in some sort of chamber, and they appear to be floating. So your suspicion is something like a space station, an orbital space station, or something of that kind, is what sort of is suggested to you. Still working on the language, still working on the syntaxes and stuff, but they're talking, looking, finding. I think this is it. Now I just got to find it. Sorry, just give me a second. So what you have to apply to this is a whole lot of fur, but basically, if I can load it into Roll20, if it lets me, is doing that now, guys. You should see the picture of them very shortly.
Okay.
Basically, what you're seeing, a rather tall, thin bipedal, which can only be described as, because these are furry, tall bipedal furry llama-like creatures. That's what you see on the screen, and they're talking blah 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 blah. They have some very, very basic spacesuit type of thing on them. Of course, their helmets are completely different design to your helmets. Yeah, they seem to be quite animated. If you're reading the facial expressions correctly, they seem to be smiling, and the odd noise could possibly be described as laughing. Not quite sure. But you don't know any of their social customs or anything. But Rays, you've got a piece of video now. Once you can tie that up with the translating device, you might be able to apply some of your social sciences to start working out what might be a way to approach these creatures.
Yeah.
But it is suggestive that they have at least attained space flight, at least to an orbital sense, is what you're sort of seeing.
Okay.
Yeah, you haven't got anything to confirm that, but that's sort of the suggestion at the moment. As I said, the computer's working on syntax, so it's working on a 36 symbol alphabet. There are a couple of sounds that you sort of practice because they're just not natural to humans. Yeah, all sorts of weird stuff. But you have liaison, so you're the person to make first contact when this happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've got the liaison skill. Ray's is trying to work out from a sociological point of view what might be the best way to approach these creatures, and that's a couple of days off.
Could we approach, because we both have liaison, could we approach them together?
Oh yeah.
Yes, you can, but the one with the best liaison is the one that does the work, That's one thing you can't aid a person on, because it's an interactive skill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only
guess
interactive skill you can aid somebody on is intimidate.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
I guess we should kind of wait for the computer to kind of break down more of the alphabet.
Yep. Well, you've got a couple more days yet. He's got one more roll for the next day to get the final lot of fuel. So last roll, please, Raise.
9.
Beautifully done. Okay, you've got your fuel. You can plot your... Okay, another sensor sweep, please. So you can sort of get a better... Okay, you've got a bit of a direction in the way to head. Can we have a navigation roll, please, Raise?
9.
Cool. So you know how to dodge. You've plotted it around various... There are planetary bodies that you have a rough idea of where are. So you've plotted around that. You've picked up some outer asteroid rings, so you know how to work through that. The other thing you notice, and I'm assuming that someone's clicked on the put this in the library data, is that this, like, you know how most systems have a plane that the planets are on. This system has 3 planes.
Okay.
So it's kind of chaotic out there. The 3 planes, yeah, as you go in, you're going to find out more. It's going to require a bit of finesse. It's definitely going to require Jack in the gunnery thing, because he's probably going to encounter some bits and pieces he's going to have to blow out of the sky to keep you safe. So yeah, knowing that, you're just going to have to go. So it would be traveling at 1G. While not perhaps the best, it does give you time, but it's the safest way to go. So that would be... I'm making the suggestion now, but I'm going to give you facts. You guys interpret that and decide later on, but just because this is the first time. So you're looking at close to 6 days to get into the origin point of the signal.
Okay. Does anybody have any linguistic skills?
No. You two with computers would have the closest, because you've got the computer to help you work with that.
Oh, okay. So the linguistics, I guess that's...
Yeah. But that's okay, because you'd take your... Once it's cracked it, you would take your Omnicomp with you, and it would translate between the 2 races.
So
my linguistic skill will be -1 instead of -3 for you, because I've got Jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's nothing like we can do to help it along. Then I guess just kind of have to wait on the computer.
Yeah, just it's the computing power of trying to ascertain what the syntaxes are and all that sort of stuff.
And can I use my psych skill to try and figure out, like, body language and stuff?
Yep. Okay, so you're going to spend the next couple of days, apart from pilot, would be best now, while you're not near any rings or planets or things that you're going to have to be really conscious of dodging. I mean, it's not going to be that easy, but you know, it just...
Yeah, so like I look for things like if they made a certain sound, if there was like a hand gesture or something that often accommodated that.
All that sort of stuff. Totally cool. Okay, give me your psychological roll, please.
Minute 12. 10.
10. Good enough. Okay, yeah, you're starting to understand these creatures. There's many similarities between them and what is social in human sphere terms. You're still not sure which ones, if they actually have 2 different genders, or the same gender, or they have 3 or 4 genders. There's nothing obvious at the moment about that. Some of them have different coloration, definitely. When Remington looks at the computer data, there is definitely different modulation frequencies. Some speak in a slightly higher tone than others, and they do tend to be of different coloration. You don't know whether that's a gender thing or that's like a caste thing or what. You don't have the full knowledge to know that, but you've noticed these differences. They seem to have, whatever it is for them, a sense of humor, because you sort of, the body language and the strange noise and the things they do after whatever interaction they have to you indicate that their version of laughing. And there seems to be two different sorts of communication going on. There's one sort where it's more relaxed, and one sort where it's not relaxed. You can tell the difference in the voice and the facial features
So one is more formal, one is more informal.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Is this on a loop? Is the recording on a loop?
No, it's just on a loop at the moment because that's the only one you've cleared up.
Okay,
as you come in, you can pick up more stuff if you want.
So I can obviously tell there's more than one person, like or one agent.
Yep, you can see at least 4 different individuals.
And I can can I maybe like make out which ones are relaxed and which ones are more.
Each one of them will go through. They usually do this more or this less relaxed talk first, and then it sort of changes into more relaxed talk.
Okay.
Yeah. The closest thing that I could suggest to you that might make sense is like when you have to give a report and you get that out of the way, then things get a little bit more easy breezy.
Okay.
It sort of suggests that to you.
Possibly just like a quirk of the language or the.
Or it could be that they have like a very formal way of introducing things, and then they get into the more personal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think there's anything I can at the moment.
At the moment, no, but that's okay. You're just heading in. Okay, guys. So you're heading in, and that's where I'm going to call the game tonight. So I'm just going to stop the recording.